Well, how's it shaking, proxies? My name's FOXSOL. Welcome to another video right here on the channel. Do hope you enjoy. Alrighty. Proxy, my man, how is it going? Welcome to another video that I am going to post on this channel. This, again, is apparently my obsession, which is watching Saintontas, getting a grasp of the information that he is trying to spill, that is now talking about the WuWa revenue misinformation is crazy, which in terms makes it to where I'm wondering if he's actually providing information or if he's just taking different things that he sees and just running with it. So without further ado, we got a couple people that's in the chat and everything else that's going to be watching this with me. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to talk about it. I have data that's on the side right here to go ahead and work off of, because we've already watched this to a certain degree, and we already discussed a lot of the fine points, but I just want to go ahead and record this video to put the fine points together. Now, disclaimer-wise, before we get into this video, I would like everyone to understand, when it's going to come down to the mobile data numbers, the revenue that comes from mobile data, we are not saying that HoyoVerse, that Kuro Games, or any gacha game, unless otherwise it's only on mobile, is their only source of income. For games like Weather and Waves, for games like Genshin, for games like ZZZ, for games like Honkai Star Rail, they're on multiple different platforms. They're on mobile, they're on PC, they're on console, they're on different areas other than just in gacha revenue. So, understand that disclaimer. That is the one truth that needs to be placed. The only reason why we look at these types of revenue is for the simple fact that we are trying to ensure that we are understanding trend data. So, let's go ahead and let's listen to the man really quickly.
And gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Gacha Revenue Monthly Report. This time it's going to be for August 2025. And there's just something that I want to get off of my chest when it comes to this thing. This probably will be, for the history of like Gacha Revenue Reports on Reddit, this will probably be the least toxic comment section in existence, and there's a couple of reasons for that. You can kind of just see from everything that's going on in here, you've seen that I've taken a look at quite a few of the comments. It's not really anything that crazy. A lot of pictures of horses and people just talking about how certain games are, you know, not in the top sort of 10 anymore. So this is the thing. If we just go ahead and take a look at this chart, you'll notice, boy oh boy, this looks a little bit weird. You got Fate Grand Order over at the top, followed by Pokemon TCG, Love and D Space, and then of course Uma Mu Sumi. And
I want to go off really quickly. We're going to pause him really quickly to talk about, you know, the quote-unquote thing he said in the beginning here about, you know, the original take that he had in his live stream about the comment section in the Reddit page about, you know, it's not toxic at all. Well, in the last couple of months, it has been a toxic waste pit that has been happening. And with all the games that would be considered the top big four, they have all driven down due to these four games right here of Pokemon, Fate, Love D Space, showing that, you know what, there's no toxicity. Everything's perfectly fine, which I think may actually kind of showcase, from just saying this and just looking at it, that maybe the Hoyo people don't care that they are not on the top of the leaderboard, that they were never the ones spreading the toxic positivity as other people have claimed, because they're not in there defending their game. They're just meh about it. They're not like it was with Weather and Waves for a couple of months, where Weather and Waves finances were looking in the gacha revenue at fourth place. It was a complete gold mine of, you know, people going ahead and apparently ripping into WuWa. No one's ripping into Hoyo. Hoyo's not ripping into Umamusa or anything else. They're not ripping into anyone. So maybe this kind of showcases that the honest truth here, that the toxic positivity came when HoyoVerse was at the top, and it was other people that was jealous of HoyoVerse, not Hoyo Shields attacking other people. Just saying. Well, let's continue.
Let's just be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. The numbers, specifically for HoyoVerse games, knowing that this is a mobile revenue chart, the numbers for the HoyoVerse games are sort of a bit lower than I think what a lot of people have expected, right? And this is the thing.
Not really.
Games like Honkai Star Rail, games like Genshin Impact, they're a lot more accessible for mobile players, especially games like HSR, where all you need is like half of a pulse, and then maybe like 2 IQ points, and you can clear Memory of Chaos, right?
Right there, straight up, if you're a Honkai Star Rail player, he just insulted you. So we gotta put in apparently a sarcastic subjection. I guess you want to call it subjective objection. Subjection. I'll make that word up right now. To go ahead and insult someone within the first 2 minutes of the video.
So it's like that whole situation is like going on over here. As long as you know, pull all these different characters, you get the same experience on mobile that you do on like every other platform. 3-button game, that sort of deal. And for others on the list, specifically, I'm talking about titles like Zenless, Zone Zero, and Wuthering Waves, not really as much flexibility, right? So when it comes to these numbers, knowing that this is once again a mobile chart, yeah, not really as high as people were expecting. And this is the thing. It's ironic that when games like Honkai Star Rail and games like Genshin Impact don't have great projections, that leads to probably the least toxic comment section in the history of gacha revenue. You can just take a look at it over here. There's not really anything. If anything, it's just mostly people talking about how surprised they are by the fact that Fate Grand Order isn't actually dead yet, knowing that the game released almost more than a decade ago at this point. So yeah, I think what's becoming more and more clear is that, well, isn't it kind of obvious where the source of toxicity is when it comes to these charts? Knowing that there's not necessarily like a leg to stand on or a leg to lord over when it comes to this gacha revenue metric, it is literally the most civil comment section and the most civil discussion that has ever been had. Lady.
Yeah. But when Genshin's on the top, Honkai Star Rail's on the top, let's just say ZZZ is somewhere within the second or third place, it has always been a quote unquote, like I said earlier, toxic positivity that has happened inside of there, to which is like the numbers are wrong. They're fake numbers. This can't be. Whether it, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say this. This is my non-factual opinion. This is an opinion of mine. That it goes to show that when the top 4, Genshin, Honkai, ZZZ, and Wuthering Waves is on that top of the list, and Wuthering Waves does not do as good as what people have hyped it up to be, that's when the toxic positivity has started. It's not been HoyoVerse going ahead and stomping on WuWa or anything. It's WuWa that is going, the community itself who watches this has been in denial of their numbers. And we're going to look at the numbers from a different source than Sensor Tower here in a little bit to go through that. But this is just my opinion that I want to state here. Because, I mean, if the Reddit section's not being toxic, then everybody's accepting of it. Wouldn't that go to show that HoyoVerse fans aren't the ones being toxic? Because I would assume that they would be so toxic to hell. That Horse Derby Girl game, that Fate Grand Order, that Love and Deep Space, and Pokemon beat them. But they're meh about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, gacha is better when HoyoVerse isn't doing well. So let us make this the start, potentially, of a shift in the overall community. I know that's not going to work. I know that's not going to do anything. But you can't avoid all of the toxicity, ladies and gentlemen. There's somebody posting over here about how the curse of the most hyped WuWa character strikes again. And the character that they're talking about, naturally, is Augusta over here. But one thing that we have to recognize, and this is a bit of a running theory, is that Augusta's numbers simply have not been counted in the total because her banner only launched a couple of days ago. And the gacha revenue data and the gacha revenue website has a literal track record of not recording data properly when a banner launches at the end of the month. But there will still be some people that are doom posting in here. I just want to see if there's anybody addressing it. The hype was never real. Okay. Yeah, there's nobody addressing the fact that her banner launched at the end of the month. So there still are some dumb people on this subreddit, but yeah, just something to keep in mind because they have done it before. I believe they did it with Zani's release, and that led to a whole little discussion about the exact sort of dynamic that we're seeing over here. But of course, this one doesn't have that many updates, right? It's not close to the top. We have to actively search for this one. So maybe it is getting pushed down by the more sensical parts of the community. But don't worry, we'll still have people that are like, this has to be the most schizo thing I've ever seen. Like, the guy's literally looking at the fact that a video got, like, re-uploaded because it had a bug in it, and he's, like, trying to paint some sort of narrative. Yeah, some of these people are fucking weird, man. So, yeah, let's just keep that in mind. Toxicity is, as a whole, has been going down, but it's not, like, disappeared yet, but this stuff isn't at the top. So, let's just go ahead. Let's start talking about some of, like, the important line items over here. Talk about...
Now, let me go ahead and pause it right here really quickly. We let him talk for a little good bit, and let me talk about the data for Augusta. He is correct that not all of the data has been accumulated from Augusta's banner for the last couple of days. What it has accumulated to is all the way up to the 29th and 30th. Really, what ends up happening with these websites like Sensor Tower, with DataFox, with App Magic, different things that, you know, calculate the actual revenue, they're always going to be about a day or two behind. So yes, Sensor Tower has the bulk, most likely, in the revenue charts of this, of what Augusta made on the 28th, maybe the 29th, but I don't assume that report has the 30th or the 31st on it. Neither does it have it for any of the other games that's listed in this list. So he is correct about that. But we can go ahead and we can take a look at that data ourselves here very shortly and see what has been actually calculated.
Some of the context, right? For Honkai Star Rail, I think they released characters like Hisselins and Ceridra, who are like super tailored, and if you don't already have like existing units whose banners have already run like months ago, they're actually just dog shit. So like it's like damage over time for Hisselins, and then like Ceridra is supposed to be like a Finon support, and Hisselins is like the only one out, right? So not particularly too surprising for me over here, knowing that damage over time is like the worst attribute, or is like the worst damage type in that game. And yeah, the support for it came way too late after they've already power crept everything out of existence. Then you got Genshin Impact over here, and I do believe that the character on banner right now is Inefa. And this is what I'm going to be honest about with you when it comes to Inefa. I would be extremely concerned as a Genshin Impact player if, again, this is the metric that you really want to focus on, because boy oh boy, Inefa is quite literally the definition of a pay-to-play character, a pay-to-win character. So if you were to just go ahead and take a look at this whole situation over here, I'll use I Win to Lose this thumbnail as a bit of an explanation. In Stygian Onslaught, which is Genshin Impact's newest pay-to-win endgame mode, this battle-hardened sombrero guy that you see over here with the 25 seconds next to it, you literally cannot kill it. You cannot even challenge it unless you have Inefa on your team.
Okay. So there was two pieces of data here that I did not have already open that I wanted to go ahead and while he was talking, I want to open up. So we're talking about the month of August right here. We're not talking about September. We're not talking about July. We're talking about August. So taking a look really quickly from Honkai Star Rail. What I'm seeing from Honkai Star Rail right now is the collaboration for HSR is still going on, apparently. And from August 12th to right here, I have no idea who the hell this character is, but this is the only character that was running in Honkai Star Rail since August 12th. I think before this, correct me if I'm wrong, but before this banner was the other guy, which was, what was his name? Starts with a P. This is the next banner. Does it show the previous banners real quick? His banner release was on July 1st to July 23rd. So this is the July revenue. So what was the next banner after this? What did HSR do from July 23rd all the way till now? Let's go see. August, September, so July 23rd. They weren't running nothing else. So July 23rd, July 24th, July 25th, we're just running the Archer and Saber banner. All the way till the 12th. And it's still running. And whatever the heck this is, this banner as well. So HSR, you guys had nothing really in the first half of August to actually talk about except Archer and Saber. And just reruns. Right? I'm not even sure if this is a rerun or not. I would hope that this is a new character, but this is about it. Everything else, nothing. Okay. That's my assumption right here. Okay. Now, with him talking about this right here, with Genshin Impact, with this Aoife banner or whatever, this girl, mechanical girl, her banner started on July 30th. And last I checked, there was 2 days, July 30th, July 31st, that was involved for the banner. So the bulk of her banner's money for Genshin Impact is going to be in the month of July. She started Genshin Impact very good in August, but since then till August 19th, really nothing. So what is the phase 2 in this banner? What happens with Genshin Impact on August 19th? Phase 2 is just reruns. Phase 2 is reruns all the way until September 9th. And I don't think too many people, who already have these characters are going to be respending on these characters, except maybe getting additional summons on them, additional mindscapes, whatever you call it on that. Constellations, whatever you call it, to get, that's it, but not too hefty. So we could take a look at this really quickly. Okay. Very easy to go ahead and see this. Let me pull Genshin Impact up. So this is a site that's like Sensor Tower. It's going to show you the revenue for the game each and every day. We have already have on here the application for China, the application for both Chinese that they use that is even on Gacha revenue, that showcases on iOS. We have the global version of the Android version of Genshin Impact, as well as the global version of iOS as well that's embedded in here. And the one thing it shows is that August 1st, the money making was already pretty damn high. And then it was just scathingly going down. And relatively speaking, it's been at a minimum stance. Nothing bad. Again, that character that he's talking about, that character, if we go take a look at from, let's say, July 28th to August 4th, we can see that her release, July 29th was low. Boom, her release on August 1st, and then it dips. So this goes to showcase, like, what everybody should tell you is that a character banner within the first 3 to 4 days makes the most of its money. Well, again, even in here, the most of the money that Genshin Impact made off this character was at the end of July, similar to Augusta. It has no bearing except for the later part of it for the month of August. So why are we referring to basically something that happened in July as, part of August? I don't understand, but let's let him continue on.
Your account. Sombrero Guy is basically invincible unless a Nefa is there. So understanding that restriction is in the game, and let's just look at one of my thumbnails over here. And also knowing that Anefa literally locks off the lunar charged reaction, like you literally cannot use it unless you have her on your team. Well, let's just be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. It probably would be a little bit concerning to see a mobile revenue drop like this when the character is literally the definition of pay to win. And so, maybe this is a sign to HoyoVerse. Hey, these bullshit mechanics that you're putting in the fucking game, they're not actually working. They're not something that is actually appealing to characters. We don't like when you put pay-to-win mechanics behind dog shit character design because this unit looks like shit. This unit looks like trash. She's literally garbage. One of the worst designs that they've ever had in the history of the game, and they simply tried to tie essential gameplay components to her kit. Very, 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 let's just say it's a rough way of approaching the situation, right?
I don't know nothing about the character. I don't know nothing about the game mode. I'm not going to go ahead and give my thoughts really on that. But as you guys who have played Genshin Impact, that knows what Saintontas is talking about, I'll leave it to you in the stream right now and in the comment section below if this is fact or if this is subjective. Maybe there's people who didn't even get the character that was able to complete it. I don't know. That is up to you guys to go ahead and let me know. But otherwise than that, I'll let that slide at that point.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are glad that, at least on mobile, right, there's something going down. Now, let's go ahead and make a bit of a bigger distinction over here. We're just going to skip through a couple of the rest of these other games and get into, like, the meat of the discussion when it comes to these two titles, Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves.
Alrighty. All right, boys. This is our domain to take a look at. This is where we should be, you know, on the up and up about our game, and we should also be the up about Wuthering Waves because I am a WuWa player still.
I've made this statement a bunch of times, but I still find the need to reiterate it basically every single time we are covering these charts. Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves, using mobile revenue as some sort of like indicator of their overall success is an absolute disaster. It kind of would just show and kind of frame you as somebody that has never actually played either of these two games or even given an attempt to understand the types of players that it has. Because I'm just gonna be real here, ladies and gentlemen. These games suck fucking ass on mobile. They're bad. They're not good gameplay experiences. And if somebody were to play the game on mobile and then play the game on console or PC, brother, they would never choose mobile. That would never be the platform that they would ever decide to do stuff on. And the thing,
I have to 100% agree with this statement that Saintontas is making. I have to 100% agree. Both Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero, from my experiences playing it on the mobile devices, whether it was on the iPad, my iPhone 13, or the Samsung that I have, both games had given me tons and tons of issues. Even setting down the graphics down to the lowest setting, putting on 30 frames per second. Wuthering Waves was a lot worse than ZZZ because it would crash like every 5 minutes. Zenless, it would be just the frame rate droppage that I would have in the game. Otherwise than that, I have to agree. If you're going to be playing either of these games, you are going to want to play them on PC, console, something else besides mobile. But there is people out there who can only play ZZZ on mobile. And it is one of the things to which, like in Japan, mobile gaming derive basically from Eastern lands. So China, Japan, on that side of the continent, because they're always on the go. They're always working. They don't always have time like us here in America, like for me, to where I work a 9 to 5 and then I go home, I rest, I can play on the console, I can play on a PC, and I can do my gaming. A lot of them is going to be working till 10, 11 o'clock in the middle of the night. They're going to get short breaks. They have to work more hours than normal. They're a very work-heavy culture. So mobile gaming to them is actually quite a best word I think I could put in it is it's quite a convenience for them. And they might be having issues, they might not, but it is particularly still something that a lot of people do. Now, another scenario that I discussed this before in the live stream is that I do know some people who technically play ZZZ, Wuthering Waves, Genshin, all these on both mobile and on PC. And the only reason why they go on mobile is, and it's mostly for Android users, is apparently they have this thing called Google Points. So if they think that they spend the money in Google Store, that every time they give like what $5 or something, they get $1 back basically that they can reuse and they can spend it on the next Gacha game. So the more money they spend through their mobile phone, the more money is rewarded back to them in sense of points to be able to go ahead and buy it again. Something like what Epic Game Store does. And straight up, that's the only reason why they will spend more money on there instead on the PC platform. Because I know he's going to end up talking about, here in a second, that when it comes to why would you spend money on a mobile device rather than spend money on what you're absolutely using right now, is because, like I said, a couple of friends I know of rather spend that on the mobile just to get the rewards back. Some people are actually like that. I'm not sure if that is a lot of people is like that, or only like a 2% of people that do that on mobile, but I do know some people that do that.
Is that, well, I'm just going to be real here, ladies and gentlemen. It's not really the same for other games that have only 3 buttons involved with their combat. These games tend to be a lot more manageable. And so, in reality, right, when it comes to how you're spending your money, you're likely going to spend your money in-game on Lunite or Battle Passes or whatever. You're likely going to spend it on the platform that you're playing the game the most on. And this is the thing, ladies and
I would agree to that, like I said, but I do know friends who spend it on the mobile platform. I also know friends who use sites like Loot Bar, You Buy 7, LD Shop, that will also buy the same packages on there because it's cheaper than actually buying it either on PC or mobile. So they'll use some kind of a top-up system that is outside, which all that is a VPN basically, just to go ahead and give you the cheapest rate possible. So there's other formats of payment that is not just, oh, I'm going to spend my Lunits, or I'm going to buy Lunits, or I'm going to buy Polychromes on PlayStation, on the PC or anything. There's other sources of spending money.
gentlemen. You see Wuthering
You're
Waves
not
going
locked
down. You see the big little red. Obviously, it's not that massive. But then you see a lot of other oddly conflicting information. Like this. Wuthering Waves being in the top 4 top sellers on Steam, where its competition is games like Counter-Strike, Helldivers, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, which is literally a new title. Then you also have this situation over here, ladies and gentlemen.
Before it gets to the next situation, we can see that on the top sellers group, yes, top 100 selling games right now by revenue is Counter-Strike, Metal Gear Solid, Helldivers 2, and Wuthering Waves, because 100% that is going to be whatever the latest thing is going to come in. Now, in the course of his live stream, that number 4 spot for Wuthering Waves actually went down into the top, down to like 24. So it's still in the top 25. But depending on whenever this right here, this screenshot was taken by John Seaman right here, this screenshot, if it was on the 28th, right after the banner dropped, of course, Wuthering Waves is going to be in the top 4 selling games right now. I think that would be completely obvious. It's going to it's not like it's going to be there for a solid week. We do have no idea when this picture was even taken. Okay. Actually, no, we do. I am sorry. We do. Lo and behold, let me go ahead and pull out my tool here, the Epic Pen. We do have a date. So this picture had to been on August 28th, around either before or after 9 o'clock in the morning on August 28th. Today is September 1st. So right after the banner release, the game was in 4th spot. This is from John Seaman himself, which I know you can't see through the chat, which I'm highlighting right here. And he's replying to this tweet here. Pack it up, little pups, right here with this information. So this data trend dropped. Pretty sneaky. Let's see what more Saintontas has to say about this. Pretty sneaky, trying to use a screenshot on the day of release.
Clearly, I think that this speaks volumes about, well, how popular the game actually is on PC. You can also look over here and you can see the kind of like, oh, that's a kind of a big injection of players. They're almost doubling their player count and then also maintaining it as the weeks go on. So it's like people are joining and then they aren't quitting because the numbers are kind of staying the same.
They're kind of staying the same, right? All right, let's go pull out the Steam charts. Let's take a look at it for ourselves. Let's go ahead. Let's refresh this to the latest information. So there's something that was a little weird. I cannot speculate of what it really is, but let's go ahead and move the chart back. So in the past, you can see that we're meeting peaks of 12,000, 11,000, 11,000. Pretty well, right? 10 or 11,000. And then all of a sudden, August 27th, the game drops, gets up to 27,000 people playing it. Drops a little bit to the 14,000 mark, comes back up, maintaining about 20,000, comes all the way up to 20,000. And then this is where the weird thing happens, and I cannot understand this because this is not based on reset time. Because if you look at, we know when Weather and Waves resets. If you go ahead and you move this chart right here all the way around, right, and you condense it, you can see that there's never been a drop except for maintenance when they're putting up the game. And I don't think Weather and Waves has had any major maintenances that would have caused players to be kicked out of the game on Steam, regardless. So over here, coming in and zooming in on this information right here, we can see that after August 28th, August 29th, and 30th, there was no droppage. You could 20,000 to a low about 12,000. But we got 3 dips here in the last couple of days to where the 20,000 drops down to 0. Apparently at this time at 8 p.m. or whatever, 8 o'clock, whatever time this would be, whatever time zone it's on, dropped to 0 players. Then all of a sudden, miraculously got 22,000 players going and then started steadily declining, getting into about 13,000, climbs up again to about 18, 19, 20,000, and then boom, right at 20,000, it drops down to 0, comes back up at 22,637. Okay? Started degrading down to about 15,000, 11,000. Like, look how long it's going for. And then all of a sudden, it comes up to about 16,000, dips down back to 0 for some fucking reason, and then jumps up to 19,000. And then recently, you can see that it's just, since then, been dropping down to where we're getting back to about 10,000 players. Right now, as of the last hour, 10,890 people are playing. These 3 spikes are very confusing to me. It's almost like someone shut off the server and people were logged off and people were trying to log in or whatever, and then turned it right back on, and then it just was an influx of logins coming in all at one time, which I'm not going to assume this as a fact. It's just opinion-wise. It almost seems like someone shut the server down, turned it back on, and then all of a sudden you got 22,000 players. That's just basically, miraculously, it went up 2,000 players right here. Miraculously, 2,000 players showed up. Miraculously, 3,000 players, 2,000 players, or 3,000 players showed up. So something's happening, and it's happening at the same exact time for the last couple of days. Don't know about you guys, but that does look a little fishy to me when there is no historical reasoning behind it. Like right here, historical, it happened earlier before, but it only dropped to 218 players. And it came up. Like, I can understand that, like, it drops, like, you know, the day before a patch down to 0, but not like this. Something's either up with Steam or something's up with the way something's happening with the game. Don't know, but I just wanted to bring that to attention. But recently, we can start seeing that it is diving down. I mean, look, even in the past, right? Even in the past, when the last patch happened, look, the game made 21,000. It couldn't maintain it too well, but it dropped. But every time a patch happens, the game gets a spurt of people that come in and play it. They play it for a little while. They dropped off. Play for a little while. it drops off. How can we say that this is going to be different? People came in for Augusta, right? They're playing it for a little while. There's a little bit more to do, and it's dropping off. Don't know. But I just wanted to bring that up.
That's not really indicative of a game losing performance either. And you want to know the best part about all this? Steam isn't the only platform where you're seeing a lot of success on the PC. Are you ready for this one? Yeah, those are the top-selling free-to-play games on the Epic Store. The competition that Wuthering Waves has on the Epic Store, ladies and gentlemen, is Fortnite. Do you guys want some data and statistics on Fortnite? Let's just take a look. According to this website over here, businessofapps.com, I don't know how legitimate it is, but it does look like it has like a lot of official information. You can see over here that while the revenue has been fluctuating, Fortnite literally earns billions of dollars every year. Sure, it might range from like 5.4 to like 3.5 billion, but it literally makes billions of dollars a year via the Epic Game Store. And if that is the only game that is ahead of you, I have to imagine you must be making a pretty decent amount of money. You must be making, at the very least, a decent amount of cash if your only competition for the top 2 spots is Fortnite. So.
All right. So here's another screenshot from the Epic Game Store now we're going to use instead of Steam. And we're going to discuss pretty much the fact that, oh, well, if Wuthering Waves is in second place with Fortnite, then that must mean that Wuthering Waves is what? As good as Fortnite? Well, first and foremost, we're going to get back into this. We're going to get more into this because he is hopefully going to talk about this more later in the video. Unless it was edited out, then we'll just do something then. But this right here, I will show really quickly. The top selling games completely in here was Fortnite, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, and Zenless 0. The big 4 is right after Fortnite. And what my point is going to be here, and we're going to talk about this more later, and I'll showcase this more later, is that this right here is right after Augusta's patch. There's nothing going on in Honkai Star Rail right now. There's nothing going on in Genshin Impact right now. And there's nothing going on in Zenless Zone 0 right now that would escalate them to take the second spot. Wuthering Waves is the second spot. Let's just say right now Fortnite's making $100 million a day. If this game made $2 more than any of these other games, it would take the second place. It doesn't mean that Wuthering Waves is making billions of dollars. It's just saying that right now, compared to everything else, it is the most popular thing people are logging into. It's the most popular thing that people are spending money in. This is where an influx of revenue is coming in. So yes, it is going to be in second place, especially if there is nothing going on with any of these other free-to-play titles. Get my drift? This will periodically change, just like the PlayStation Store, just like Xbox, just like Steam. It will change rapidly. Right now, we don't know how many times this changes, but I would suggest that when ZZZ and when Genshin and when Honkai Star Rail does its patch updates, refer back to this and see where Wuthering Waves is at during the time that these patches drop.
This is the thing. Wuthering Waves clearly has all of the examples of where it has seen a massive, absurd amount of success on other platforms. And this is sort of the unfortunate part about the situation, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot make the same argument, and you can't necessarily say the same things for ZZZ. Because guess what? ZZZ is only really available on, well, let's just be honest here. It's only available on the Hoyo on the Hoyo platform.
Now, I know he corrects himself in this. He gets corrected in this, and he does accept it. But it is not only on the Hoyo platform. So hopefully it is corrected in this video, because he did do this live and this was edited. But it is on Xbox. It is on PlayStation. It is on Epic Game Store. It is on pretty much every platform except Nintendo. So that is a straight up non-factual misinformational line that he just stated there.
That gives no visibility. It gives no insight for as to, you know, what the top sellers are, all of that stuff. It's not available. And the thing is that every single example of Wuthering Waves, whenever a new version launches or a new version releases, it is always at the top selling spots. It's always in the top selling spots on Epic Store. It's always within like the top 10, in this case, the top 5 for Steam. That is something that regularly happens with the game. But for ZZZ, I'll be honest here, if it did have those like outside metrics to look at, that would be something that I could talk about. But unfortunately, it's just not there. And so,
again, we do have those outside metrics that he's using like Epic Games Store to basically look at this. So again, I'm hoping that the editing of this video was done correctly to correct this issue.
if you're somebody that's a ZZZ player, right, that's maybe like, oh, I'm not too comfortable, or like, I'm like a little bit concerned about this, well, there's no reinforcing or like external sort of data that can help reassure you. So, yeah, I'm just gonna be honest here. Little bit rough. And it's rougher knowing that these numbers, whatever's involved with it, right? I think it's like the release of like Alice. I think it's also the release of like Yazuha. Like maybe a little bit of Yazuha's banner is counted in here. Yeah, those two are probably the most interesting characters that have come out in the game across this version. And 2.2 with Seed and Orpheus. I'm just going to be real here. I don't know how popular that one's going to be because I don't know who actually likes those fucking characters. I mean,
I will tell you that there is a lot of people that originally kind of shook their head on Seed and Orphe, but after seeing the Seed animation demo, not the demo, but the trailer with her as a little girl with Seed, I know a lot of people who has changed their mind that is going to start pulling for Seed because of that trailer. My question is, I'm going to ask it to the chat right here, guys. How many of you guys, out of curiosity, are pulling for Seed? Because according to Saintontas, everybody he knows of is not, everybody he's seen and read is not pulling for Seed. Anyone here pulling for Seed? I got same with Alice. People hated her design during the leaks too. I fucking am. The story, we got me, skipping sadly. Me, maybe. I'm debating. No, for Spook Shack. Pulling for Trigger. Seed. Well, that's also another thing, because Trigger is going to be also with the banner. So anyone else pulling for Trigger, say, hey, me too, if you want, because Seed and Trigger are going to be on the same banner. So who's pulling for either one of the characters? I'll be pulling for Seed and Trigger. I think I got a few people in here who is saying me. I got a few people here saying no, they're not pulling. But I see some people, not everybody is saying no. There's a good bit of people here who said maybe, yes, I'm fucking am, so forth. I got a few people here so far saying no. But, I mean, let's put it this way. Character pulling is subjective in all regards. I know a lot of people also, yes, that is going to be holding out also for Spook Shack. So, let's let him continue on. Because so far, I have not heard the correction yet to ZZZ and the metrics he's using with Epic Games Store saying that it's in Epic Games Store. So, but we're only 12 minutes into the video, so we're past the halfway mark. So hopefully, our boy here is going to correct that soon.
Maybe ZZZ will find itself on like an external games platform soon. I would honestly, it would probably make the most sense for ZZZ to also be on Steam and maybe the Epic
Hopefully
Games Store
here,
as well.
Please.
Maybe it is. Maybe ZZZ actually is here and we're just like not seeing it. But
yes,
it's just, it really does seem like a title that probably could be there. Oh, ZZZ is on Epic? Oh, ZZZ
good.
is
on All right,
Epic.
he did.
Oh, just nobody plays it. Oh, it's just, it is on the Epic Game Store, but nobody plays it on Epic. Oh, at least nobody spends money on it. I'm assuming because nobody spends money on it on the Epic Store that nobody plays it, but maybe it has like an insane free-to-play population.
All I'm going to say is, thank God he did correct it in the edit.
Dude, it's just, everyone plays it on the Epic Store, but nobody pays money.
That is a plus for Saint.
Surely that's what it is. Okay. All right. Yeah, maybe there's a screenshot of ZZZ when it pops up here. Maybe it's on, like, the last day of, like, a WuWa patch. ZZZ will creep its way up here. Anyways, now let's get on into and talk about some of the shady stuff that's clearly going on behind the scenes. Because, well, we gotta talk about...
Okay, I just want to go ahead and iterate something here. ZZZ ranks higher on Xbox at Saintontas is on his chat. I went take a look at Xbox for a minute before I did this live stream. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but Weather Waste is not on Xbox, is it? Which, if it's not on Xbox, then ZZZ would rank higher. That's what I thought. I'm pretty sure that ZZZ is the only. Weather Waste is not on Xbox. Only PS5. Like, I got the PS5's information. I got PlayStation's information, but I don't have Xbox. But let's let him continue on.
About the elephant in the room, ladies and gentlemen. And that is where all of this information and all of these charts actually come from. So, to provide some additional context for the situation that we're going to be seeing over here, I'm going to have to pull up this. So, this is going to be the Gacha revenue website, right? This is what it's going.
All right. We're going to pause here on this. We'll get back to this video here in a second. This is where he's going to go ahead and completely jump in the edit talking about this right here. So I'm not ready to talk about the Gacha revenue shit here yet because there's a whole total different story in here. But let me pull out like different things here really quickly. So I did this earlier, which is go to PlayStation Store, take a look at it, and off of PlayStation Store, just main advertisement-wise, these are the 3 games that's mainly advertised. Infinite Nikki, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero. Now, this doesn't mean jack shit, to be honest. But I thought that, by taking a look at when Dave put in the assortment right here, what is the best free-to-play games on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and you start looking, best free-to-play shooters, right here, best free-to-play action games, Honkai Star Rail is right here as number 1, and then it showcases this. Free sandbox games and everything else that goes downwards. So, in here, according to PlayStation, the best adventure games is Honkai Star Rail. I mean, why has WuWa not been advertised as one of the top 4? According to PlayStation, the top 4 big gacha games, I guess you want to say, is going to be Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, and I guess Infinite Nikki over here took the place of Weather and Waves, and Sony doesn't think Weather and Waves is worthy of putting up right here? I don't know. Just going to showcase this. This is officially from PlayStation. But if we go take a look at the PlayStation section here, of the top free play games, yeah, take a look at it for yourselves. With the most recent update with Augusta, Fortnite's number 1, Roblox number 2, Marvel Rivals is number 3, Overwatch 2 is number 4, and in 5th place is Weather and Waves with Warframe behind it, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Rainbow Siege X right here, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, and Honkai Star Rail down here, and yeah. And I'm sure that in the next week or so, this is all going to change again. To where Weather and Waves will probably be under Zenless Zone Zero, because right now, popularity-wise, in the gacha space of the top 4 gachas, who's got something going on right now? Weather and Waves. Genshin doesn't have anything going on for it right now. It's peak of its patch. It's over. It's done. The peak of Zenless Zone Zero's patch is over and done, and the peak of Honkai Star Rail's patch is over and done. So we could drop that right there. We could drop this right here. That is the information there. Now, if you are, I guess, interested in like Microsoft, even though Weather and Waves is not in here, I mean, go to show you right now, top free games, Roblox, Fortnite, Disney, all these right here. You don't see anywhere up here Genshin or anything. You don't see it until here. Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, and I guess if I keep scrolling down or whatever, I would end up seeing Honkai Star Rail. But there's nothing going on. So even these games are above it. Just put it out there. But according to Microsoft, Roblox is doing better than Fortnite. Excuse me. Right now, Roblox is doing better than Fortnite according to Xbox. I'm just using metrics that Saintontas wants to use. If we're considering this metrics, these are the metrics. Okay? Now, again, we're talking about this. You know, the way he was spreading the agenda, the way he was spreading the message is that Weatherways must be doing damn good. You know, really fucking amazing, right? To be right next to our boy here, Fortnite. Which I can't really disagree with that, right? Yes, he is, in my personal opinion, correct about that. Now, there is something I want to pull. Did I save it? I might not have. I might have overridden it, but nope, I think it's right here, actually. Yeah. So, to show you something else, we have a tool on the internet. It's called the Wayback Machine. Now, the Wayback Machine does not take a screenshot, has not taken a screenshot of this in a long time. But back on August 2nd, we could take a look at what the Epic Game Store was looking like. Okay? So let's go take a look at August 2nd. What do you notice? There's a big change. Where is Zenless Zone Zero and where's Genshin Impact? Where's Weather and Waves and where's Honkai Star Rail? Genshin Impact on August 2nd was right next to Fortnite, followed by with Weather and Waves and Zenless Zone Zero behind it, and Honkai Star Rail being the last in the list. This goes to show that depending on what is popular at the time, different things change. If we go back even further to April 20th, we can see that Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, and Weather and Waves in third place, with Zenless Zone Zero all the way over here, pretty much in sixth place. And this was back in April. So this fluctuates. If we go back to, let's see if we can open this up. I don't think this will open up. Nope, this right here cannot open up. This is completely a botched update right here. So let's actually go to April 1st, right? We went to April 20th, so we need to go to April 1st. April 1st, Genshin Impact, Weather and Waves, Honkai Star Rail's here, Zenless Zone Zero's here. We can see that the placements change. Weather and Waves has been pretty consistent, though, being within the top 5. That's actually a good thing. But it does change. Now, I don't know, maybe if date-wise, I think you have to check during an actual update to see where Zenless Zone Zero or where Honkai or Genshin's at. But we can see that, you know, back in January of the 20th, after, you know, Renaissance update, you would think that the update would have carried on, right? Genshin Impact, we know what happened with Malfika or whatever, the release on that was number 1. We got Zenless Zone Zero's number 2. Weather and Waves over here under Infinite Nicking, right here in this spot, with Honkai Star Rail following. So to try to use this as a metric to say basically our game is doing absolutely phenomenal, that our game is at tier with Fortnite, is not a conclusive metric. This, again, is about the popularity of the game at the time. So if the game is doing good on the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th, and there's nothing else going on in Genshin Impact, there's nothing going on in Zenless, and there's nothing going on in Honkai, of course, it would have what? The second place. But the moment one of these other games probably comes in and says, hey, look, here's our new update, people are spending money, they're going to take over the second place, because why? Why would you as a game store want to promote Weather and Waves right now as the top game that's being utilized? It's because you want to force more eyes on it to spend more money on it. It's a marketing strategy. That's all it is. It's just saying, hey, look, more people are spending money right now on Weather and Waves, but when Weather and Waves dips, and let's say the next update for Zenless Zone Zero comes in, and it takes second place, it's going to say, hey, look, more people are playing Zenless Zone Zero, and they're spending money today. You should spend money. That's all it's going to do. I don't think Fortnite's ever going to lose its first place, because that's Epic's fucking baby right there. They're not going to lose that. They're going to leave that there. That's biased as fuck, man. But just in general, I want to give that information. Now, we're going to get into the gacha revenue side of things with Saintontas here. Now, I'm going to let him speak. Let him continue on. Let him talk about the data. And we're going to talk about that information as it comes.
Going to be. And this website is curated by Trixie. And this Trixie individual has a bit of a interesting history, a bit of an interesting past. When, it's pretty clear, this is a Discord, Gateo's Discord, that Trixie is a member of. And Trixie has regularly posted in this Discord, and this is the most recent set of messages regarding the issue. Has PvP been posted on r/Gacha Gaming yet? Not yet, still reducing WuWa revenue. Yes, we made WuWa below ZZZ now. How's the manipulation going? And so this is the thing. I don't know if these guys are joking. I don't know if they're just, like, lying on the public channel just for, like, some fun in the hopes that somebody's gonna, like, screen cap it and, you know, make, like, a bunch of claims about it. I'll address the fact that this could just be misinfo, right? I'll address the fact that this could just be fake, that they're just, like, playing a prank, that they're just, like, baiting. But I think a fact of the matter is that on this server, which is a...
Let me go ahead and talk about this really quickly right here. This is a bait. This is completely a joke. This right here, I'm on Gateto's server, okay? And let me explain something. They do this shit on purpose every month. Because Saintontas has in his Discord several people that goes into Gateto's Discord that takes these screenshots on purpose to provide to Saintontas. So what they did is they straight up went on purpose every single month to make these claims just so that way they can bait him to do exactly what he's doing right now. That's all it's for. To make him think that, oh wow, these people are all changing. They're changing a narrative. They're trying to make WuWa look bad. It is a complete troll to him. And that's how it's been. And it's hilarious that he's still covering it. He hasn't figured that he's starting to kind of question it, but he still hasn't figured out that this has always been a complete joke. Okay? Now, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there because I am in this server and I see this and it's fucking hilarious.
Essentially, a place where Wuthering Waves, whenever it's brought up, intentionally gets misinformation spread about it. I just find it very ironic that Trixie is a person that is publicly posting on that Discord. Very often, that's where they, like, publish their announcements, and that's actually where they get suggestions on how to improve the Gacha Revenue website.
Here's another problem I have with this. Let's rewind this back a little bit. Remember, we're at 1530. So, you're talking about a person right now. You're talking about this Trixie person, right? And you have all these screenshots right here. What was the exact wording that you used in the beginning here?
Curated by Trixie. And this Trixie individual has a bit of a interesting history,
They have a bit of an interesting history.
Interesting past.
Interesting past.
When, it's pretty clear, this is a Discord, Gateo's Discord, that Trixie is a member of.
They're a member of this.
And Trixie has regularly posted in this Discord, and this is the
They have regularly posted in this Discord
most recent set of messages regarding the issue.
And here's some recent message regarding the issue. Do you see Trixie's name here? A, no.
Has PvP been posted on r/Gacha Gaming yet? Not yet, still reducing WuWa revenue.
Do you see Trixie's name right here? Nope, 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 nope.
Yes, we made WuWa below ZZZ now.
Trixie's name is an for people to ask a question. But is that Trixie's name? No. 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 Is that Trixie's name? No.
How's the manipulation going?
So, how does these screenshots showcase an interesting history or interesting past that would prove otherwise that, quote unquote, the person is manipulating or, may I say, changing Gacha revenue to hurt on Wuthering Waves? Just gonna say.
And so this is the thing. I don't know if these guys are joking. I don't know if they're just like lying on the public channel just for like some fun in the hopes that somebody's gonna like screen cap it and, you know, make like a bunch of claims about it. I'll address the fact that this could just be misinfo, right? I'll address the fact that this could just be fake, that they're just like playing a prank, that they're just like baiting. But I think the fact of the matter is that all announcements, and that's actually where they get suggestions on how to improve the Gacha Revenue website. So you got to keep in mind, essentially, that whoever curates this chart is an active member, an active contributing member of a community whose mission is to literally shit talk Wuthering Waves at every single opportunity.
But where is that proof? Where's that evidence that that person is shit talking Wuthering Waves? Because I could tell you right now, I'm in Gatato's server right now, and there's 39 pages of them talking. But you know what they're doing mostly? They're posting up memes and pictures. They're talking about builds. There we go. Let's just do it like this. That way I can hide this part of Gatato's stream. But here you go. Holy Gamers. Picture. A video. Picture about Tower Fantasy, EOSing or whatever. So properly. I still mean it has to take this down from the website. And to talk about this, probably there's a demand. Pictures. Very interesting tale. Maybe we'll see. Does that game even count as a gacha game? Like, I'm not seeing this person in any of this while being an active member. Like, I'm looking. I'm not seeing them shit talk Wuthering Waves. I'm just going to go through a few pages. HoyoVerse itself is a pain in the ass to maintain the CN version. But no, well, if we'll ever release shit like HoyoLab, then maybe I'll make one. Well, I mean, right here, they're shit talking fucking HoyoLab. This right here, I was looking. If we'll ever release shit like HoyoLab, then maybe I'll make one. I mean, that sounds like it's like you're shit talking HoyoLab right there, not WuWa. Site updated. Have fun. Am I finally going to be free? The old revenue website went dead. Yeah. Talking about builds, Jufufu, Toilet Girl. Yeah. So, what history does this person have besides just being an active member? I'm not seeing them shit talk Wuthering Waves. And that is the first 3 pages of 39. I mean, I could keep going on, but I don't see it. But let's continue.
That is who curates this chart. That is the background of the person that is compiling together all of this data. So with that context in mind, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it a little bit interesting? Isn't it just a little bit interesting how Wuthering Waves seems to have this track record on the Gacha Revenue website?
This is where he's going to talk about March and April's numbers. And I don't have this right offhand. I don't know where to find this at really quickly. But last time that this happened, what he's going to be talking about is that for March and for April, we can actually go take a look at this before he even starts on this conversation. I'll bring this up. And I'll explain this. Because I was one of those people that even I myself was like questioning this until I would do research and figure out why it's like this. So let's pull up Gacha Revenue. Okay? What he's going to end up talking about is these 2 months, March and April, where it's the same exact revenue. Okay? If you were around here during the time of WuWa's anniversary back in March and back in April, you're going to know exactly, if you're part of the entire Gacha group, what happened. Gato talked to the creator of this website. There was an issue with the numbers. The Sensor Tower numbers and the numbers on the website did not match on day one. One said 6 million, the other said 7 million. I forgot which one it was. I think it was the website that said 7 million and Sensor Tower said 6 million. And it did it for both the global and the Chinese version. And Gato was talking to the creator of the website on his live stream, explaining, yo, dude, what kind of agenda you're pushing on WuWa? Why are you giving WuWa basically an extra 2 million here? That's not what the numbers on Sensor Tower is. If you're going to follow the numbers, you need to follow the exact numbers that Sensor Tower is saying, not arbitrarily add an extra million onto it. So what ended up happening is they tried to correct it, from my understanding, fucked up the website, and by the time they were able to correct everything, it was too late to get the Sensor Tower numbers. The Sensor Tower numbers are only good for a month. They disappeared. So basically, March and April's numbers on Gacha revenue is completely fucked. And that was a coincidence in the side because data was entered wrong. And apparently the website is an ass to fucking work with. That is my understanding. I could be wrong about that to a certain degree, but that was my understanding of what happened here. But because of the history of Gato, the biasness and everything else, it's going to be utilized against Gacha revenue for this purpose. This is what he's going to talk about.
It has this track record of its revenue simply just being stagnant or not moving in certain regions every single month. You got months like this where there's literally no change at all. Very interesting, right? Then you got months like right over here where we got like a nice little 6 million on Android, 9,625 total, and then literally the same exact revenue number 2 months in a row. Guys, you see this zero? You see how it says over here 04/2025? Let me just move my camera real fast. You see how it says 04/2025? You go to 03/2025. It's the same photo. They just copy and pasted the revenue month over month with no updates at all. And you want to know what month this was, ladies and gentlemen, in Wuthering Waves history? Wasn't this the anniversary? Wasn't this when the anniversary took place? They just copy and pasted the revenue over from the prior month. Huh.
Yes. It was completely botched. 100%. There is no argument there. It was 100% botched. But if you do research, like I said with Gato and them, and you do research, you can actually see the reason why it got botched. I was trying to explain this to several people until they got it, and they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Those 2 months, the revenue is fucked. Now, there's ways of getting the data back, but if you want to go spend $4,000 on Sensor Tower to go get that data, that's up to you guys. That's not. I wouldn't recommend anyone spending $4,000 a month just to get to Sensor Tower just to correct 2 months worth of data.
Yeah, it was like Anniversary / Cartithia. Two of the most, well, one would assume, the highest revenue parts of the year. So, yeah, that's the background, that's the context. And so, we spent a lot of time talking about Wuthering Waves, right? Talking about its PC revenue, talking about all of that stuff, in case you were somebody that was thrown off about these numbers. But in actuality, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta come to the realization that there's no way there's no way these are accurate. There is no, I don't even care if it's estimations. There's no way that the number is literally the exact same during what's supposed to be one of the most successful months of performance for the game, because it's the...
Right. Now, if you got a problem with this, if you have a problem with this data, and you don't trust this, you don't trust it, which I can understand. They fucked up Wuthering Waves for 2 months. I don't trust it. Right? This would be someone like Saintontas or the typical Gacha player says, I can't trust this website no more. You fucked up 2 months worth of data. You know how you go check it to verify if it's correct? Well, first and foremost, you bring out the revenue report underneath it. It's going to show you all the numbers, right? The 5 million, the 3 million, the 2 million, and the 500K, right? So let me put this right here. Let's open up Sensor Tower. Let's go ahead with Sensor Tower, right? Type in Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves, 5 million, 3 million. 5 million, 3 million. iOS is 5, which would be right here. And the 3 million is going to be Android data. Now, let's take a look at the CN side. I mean, this is very easy for someone like Saintontas to be checking and correcting. Right here, same application, iOS, 500K, 500K. Right here, Android thing, Same application. 2 million, 2 million. Simple as that. You could do this with a free account. You can go to Sensor Tower where they're getting their report from, and you can verify their numbers, just like Gato did. You can verify the numbers between both of them just to ensure that they are correct on their estimates. Because, again, if you read what the website says, the figures here are shown to be rough market estimates sourced directly from Sensor Tower. This is how they do it. So, this is how you can verify whether or not Gacha revenue is correct on its numbers from its source data. But I guess here in this case scenario, trust me, bro, Gato is running this site with his goons, and they're trying to make WuWa look bad is a better excuse than going verify the data yourself.
Anniversary and a banner like Cartithia, and the numbers don't move at all. But hey, they'll do random shit like increasing global sales and then decreasing CN ones at the same time, and then arbitrarily keep them the same. So yeah, that's some of the context, ladies and gentlemen. That is the background of Trixie. That is the literal revenue data that they've recorded on their website. And, well, it's not really looking too good to be an active member of a community that is openly gonna do this. And when you compare that to the background of suspicious data on the revenue report, I'm not gonna lie over here. Maybe their attempt was to bait. I think all they're really doing is solidifying the past suspicions that people have had. Maybe they're not openly manipulating it that much anymore, but the groundwork has already been laid, and people are always going to view this chart and this data with a huge amount of skepticism. Because, well, that's what happens when your community is this openly stupid. So it is what it is, right? I think somebody posted, it's searchable. Oh, we got the top free-to-play right now? What do we got going on over here? Oh, well, would you look at that? Oh, well, would you look at that? So, ZZZ was on here. It's just literally behind all the other Hoyo games, which are all behind Wuthering Waves. I'm not gonna lie, it looks worse without the cropping. Yeah, no, it looks even worse for ZZZ with the cropping. Without the cropping. It actually, that looks a lot better for Wuthering Waves. I'm just gonna be real with you there. Yeah, it's a direct reflection. It's a direct reflection.
I mean, he's correct. It looks better for Wuthering Waves, but again, what that site is based on the popularity at the time. So that's going to change when ZZZ's update happens, when Honkai's update happens, when Genshin happens. It's just at the moment of time, Wuthering Waves is the only one that pretty much people are spending on. Oh, there's no more spending.
These projections over here, except Wuthering Waves is on top, but all the other ones are the exact same. I don't know, but this is the thing, right? I'm not gonna go ahead and just throw it out there that the Epic Game Store is the indicator of a game's success. I'm not gonna go ahead and say that, right? However, I will say...
You're not gonna say it, but this is what you've been implying throughout your video when you first talked about it and when you're talking about it now. You're making an you're implying right now that this right here is a clear metric to use. Which, again, if you do a little bit of research, you can see that this changes over time. Just because today Wuthering Waves is on top does not mean that next week ZZZ doesn't get on top, doesn't get that second place. It just depends what on Epic Store people are spending money on and who's using what. I mean, it's based on the popularity of spending.
Hey, that it is very, very, very interesting that it's Honkai Star Rail, Genshin, ZZZ on the Epic Game Store. It's also Honkai Star Rail, Genshin, ZZZ on the mobile projections. And then WuWa's on the bottom over here, and it's on the top over here. I'm just gonna say it. That's a little interesting, isn't it?
One is based on a couple of days, which is the Epic Game Store, versus a report that is based on the month.
A little Interesting, isn't it? So I'm not going to tell you what the right answer is over here. I'm just going to provide you the information. I'm going to provide you the observations. I'll show you the proof, and you can go.
Yes, it's PC versus mobile revenue. You are 100% correct, Tim. But at the same point in time, with this right here, this website, this isn't the top selling free-to-play games of the month of August. Excuse me, of the month of August. This is the top selling free-to-play games as of current present time. That's the difference of what this data here would represent versus the mobile data. Let's get our facts correct on this.
Ahead and make your own assumptions. Is Wuthering Waves going to EOS, or is it actually doing a lot better? Now we got the Steam charts over here, and this is basically
no one said that Wuthering Waves was going to EOS.
Wuthering Waves is no longer in the top selling parts of Steam right now. And there's a good reason for that. It's because Steam has a lot of competition, and Wuthering Waves basically has its banner over. It's still in the top 25, but it's not going to be in like the top... I'm just going to be honest here. With all the sales and stuff going on, it's not going to be in the top 5 4 to 5 to 6 days after the banner has launched. Because guess what, guys? Most people are going to spend on the day the banner drops when all the packages and stuff are in the store.
Exactly the point that what I said here with Epic Game Store is that when the next update drops, people are going to spend money, and guess where the hell it's going to be? Guess where the hell ZZZ? Guess where the hell Genshin and Honkai Star Rail is going to be at? It's going to be on the top,
etc., etc. But on the Epic Game Store, where there's not really much beyond Gacha, well, it's a bit of a different story. So yeah, I think that this is honestly to be expected, considering that that's how like patch release cycles typically work. Most of the spending is done on the first couple of days of the banner. And the fact that WuWa's still in the top 25, given how long it's been since Augusta has released, not too much of an issue, right?
Let's take a look really quickly. Global top sellers. Let's take a look at some. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Look, it just dropped to 25. On here, it was 24, now it dropped to 25. By tomorrow, it might drop to 26. I mean, this video was released 5 hours ago.
Not too much of a problem. So, yeah. I would just say overall, it is what it is, right? A couple of days of Augusta are being included in that monthly number, I would hope. And this is the other thing as well. There's been situations in the past before where if a banner launches near the end of the month, like literally Augusta's banner, which I think launched basically at the end of August, she snuck in there, right? Well, let's just be honest, guys. Sensor Tower, which is where this data is supposed to be from, has a track record of delaying revenue for a bunch of units. And a lot of people are also saying that Augusta's revenue isn't even accounted for in here. And that narrative would make a ton of sense, right? Especially given the fact that we have all of these pieces of evidence of Wuthering Waves literally being the top performing free-to-play game across multiple PC platforms. And so that could just be it as well. So with that being stated and everything else, he's correct. With Sensor Tower, because of where Augusta's banner started, there should be a delay. So let's go ahead. Let's pull up Gacha revenue. All right. Let's not use Sensor Tower at this point. And there's a reason why we're not going to use Sensor Tower at this point. It's because Sensor Tower itself, let's see, Gacha revenue, is because right now with Gacha revenue in particular, it's using from Sensor Tower, and Sensor Tower's report is what it is. Now, just to make sure, I'm going to take the 1.75 multiplier that is expanded out. Okay? So accordingly, without the 1.7 multiplier, with just the calculations all itself, Wuthering Waves made $12.5 million according to Sensor Tower's report as of right now. Okay? Here is the report from Fox Data, okay, which is another site that's in competition with Sensor Tower that does the same job. That is supposed to collect all the estimates
But we pay for this. We don't use a free version. We pay for this to take a look at his data. This right here will showcase the data. And guess what it has in here? It has the Augusta numbers. Now, there is apparently several different types of calculations. I just want to check. Right now, we can only get from the 1st to the 30th on this report because it's going to be delayed until tomorrow to get the 31st. All these websites do this for some reason. The reason is, I guess, they're calculating the data and they're shipping it out through their APIs. And because there's multi-millions of applications on iOS and on Android, they can't just submit it the very same night. They have to submit it, accordingly through an update process to be collected data. So right here, August 28th, we can see that for the entire month of August, this is Augusta's numbers. Augusta day 1 of her release, there I see a 685,000, a 161,000, a 268,000, and a 6,000 on all the applications that is related to weather and waves on mobile. And then I can see that it drops off accordingly to the 30th. We can see the trend. Now, altogether, the revenue altogether, not based on average of, average daily revenue, not based on highest daily revenue, or based on median. None of this. Just looking at the overall, the cumulative revenue during the selected period of August 1st to August 30th, all revenue. We can come here to our calculator. We can type in the first number, 3501,105. Plus $5,664,292 plus $1,134,222 plus $14,608. Now, this isn't rounded off estimates like Sensor Tower. This is to the dollar. According to Fox data, with its revenue reports of its collecting from its own API, from the transactions done on Google, done on iOS with no 1.75 multiplier, comes up to $10.3 million. What does Gacha revenue say? $12.5 million. If anything, Sensor Tower's calculation is probably taking into account a rough estimate on the trending to say that it should have made more. That it's not actually calculating the days. So it probably end up taking the last 2 days and calculating up, okay, this is for the month of August, even though we don't have the 30th and the 31st data, we're just going to roughly say, here it's what it is until we actually get that data and fix it in the next couple of days. But according to Fox data, fucking Weather and Waves made less money than what Sensor Tower says. It made less. So take that information as you want, but trending data wise, this typically is going to be where I'm going to trust it the most. And then here, we can even click on the application itself. Here's Android. This is what's so cool. If later on you guys want me to go through it on a live stream here and go take a look at all this, we can even go by country revenue. We can go global revenue for the per last 90 days, for example, to where you could see which country is spending the most money. We can go per country, like United States of America. Oh, look, I guess the 13th is on there. According to this, the 31st is going to be $16,000 in America. 18 million. I mean, 18,000. On the 28th, 18,000 on the 29th, 18,000 on the 30th, and then it went down $2,000 in America. That, accordingly, it made fucking more money. It made more money in fucking July than it did here. And these are the new version updates, by the way, that shows when the version dropped. So, or when the page changed for the new drop, the update logs. So whatever was updated right here. So yeah, we can even look at it that far if we wanted to. The data's there. How Sensor Tower does its things, it rounds off, it estimates. This is to the dollar sign.
Why I'm not going to get into like any reasons or any sort of like theories for why WuWa's revenue is like so low on mobile. The main one that I have is I don't even think Augusta's data is even counted in here because Sensor Tower has literally delayed it in the past. And I do believe that based off of this prior data, the month that they actually might have delayed it for was the 4th. Was around the time of like Zani's banner, all of that stuff. So that's just some more additional context over there. So yeah, I think that this month of revenue, it has been probably one of the most peaceful, but I think a lot of people have recognized that this information as a whole isn't something that you can take in isolation. You can take it in isolation for certain types of games, like the ones that you can only play on mobile, like the top 3 up here. This is their only source of revenue. But when you have stuff like this, when you have alternative platforms, we haven't even looked at console, like PlayStation stores and stuff like that, by the way, guys. When you have all these other platforms, and every single place is telling you one story, while there's one spot that's proven to be unreliable is telling you another, well, which one are you going to believe? The one that's proven to be originating from a community with questionable morals, or literal, empiric, mathematical, calculated data? Which one are you going to go for? I think I know which one I have a preference for. And I think you should have one too. So yeah, that'll be that, ladies and gentlemen. That will be our monthly Gacha revenue report for the Big Four and coverage of that whole situation.
So that's it. That's the video. That's everything. Like I stated, if you go through this video is going to be over a fucking hour, probably closer to 2 hours long, just going through all this. For a crazy 24-minute video, because there's a lot of information that needs to be displayed here. Either way, it is what it is. I want to go ahead and showcase this. There is a lot of different information that is within this video that he is trying to push out right now, that straight up, while there is some truth to it, there is a lot of what I like to call flabbergasting misinformation that is being consolidated with the somewhat truth to try to make a factual statement when it's only subjective. Simple as that. Otherwise than that, don't want to take any more of your time. We're good. So keep it classic, keep it jazz, and always keep it real. And always remember, even when it comes down to me, if you don't trust something or you want to find out the answer, do your own research. There's different data sources. There's different ways of getting this information. Find it, utilize it, build up your knowledge. Don't trust the person who says, trust me, bro. Trust the people who can go ahead that will do the research on it. And that is something that we do on this channel, that's something we do on these live streams, is that yes, while I may have somewhat quote of a obsession with Saintontas, my obsession is mostly to the misinformation that's being spread to try to go ahead and provide a factual evidence to go against it. Because while sometimes he is right, majority of the time, he is wrong. So until next time, take it easy.